Hello, my fellow readers. This is iDark Symphony 777 with another fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story. And finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. If you notice, if I sound off, I'm actually dealing with like a very severe cold. I actually had a at the time of this recording, I actually had a call off work because I was I tried to fight through the sickness while at work, and the sickness kicked my ass. Yeah, so I wanted to get this video done because I don't want to forget what I have to say about this story or the other two stories. Because I'm gonna do all three of these stories like back to back to back. Um, so yeah, Night in Salem by Kohler all around. Oh, it's another color story. Nice. This is, of course, on the RWBY fan fiction. Of course, Color only does RWBY fan fictions. As I don't know, where was I? I got distracted. I was taking some ibuprofen for my head. So where was I? Oh yeah, Night in Salem. So Color. This is not the first story I've done of Color. I read what I think this is gonna be like the fifth story I've done of his. Professor Arc, Not to Time Fate, Forged Destinies. Yeah, it'll be a fifth. No, six because I did Captain Dragon. Uh, I'm not a fan of this story. I will say up front, I don't think the story is as bad as Forged Destinies because the reason I wanted to review this one is because I actually had a comment a long while ago in my Forged Destinies review saying like, "Oh, why are you just saying good things about Night of Salem? That story sucks." It's like, well, I only read like the first couple chapters. I thought it was okay, and I'll read the whole story. I kind of realized that guy was right. That guy was very right about the story sucking. Like I said, I don't think this is as bad as Fort Destiny. Fort Destiny is an unmitigated dumpster fire, but this one has at least some good qualities, however minor they are. So, what's the plot? Well, the idea is John got admitted into Beacon. However, around the time he got admitted, uh, Ozpin got sick with a coincidentally with a cold like I have right now, and went and disappeared from public eye. Salem panicking, thinking, oh, he got a new body, thinking that John was being possessed by Ozpin. Okay, that's not a bad concept. John Salem kidnaps John, thinking that Ozpin's inside her. It's like, I want to talk. You gotta let me talk to ya. I'm not gonna let you have this. Uh, so John ends up in the Gremlins. Salem tries to, because she thinks Ozpin's inside his head, tries to kill John. A weird glowing light happens, and Salem turns human, so she's no longer a Grim. So him, Salem, and Tyrion have to escape from the Grimlands because now Salem doesn't control the Grim anymore because she's no longer Grim, and they basically have to try and make and leave, and then the plot just kind of goes off a cliff after that because now the story kind of relies a lot on the fact that everyone's like a blithering idiot. Yeah, so that is like a big problem with the story. Everyone in the story is an idiot. I don't know how. I understand making stupid characters, but you made everyone stupid. You made John stupid. You made Salem stupid. I'm willing to accept Salem being stupid because that's like supposedly like the whole crux with Salem's character is the fact that she's out of touch. I'll talk more about that later, and when I get to the characters. But Salem's stupid. John's stupid. Tyrion's stupid. Osmond's stupid. Ironwood's stupid. Crow's stupid. Gillian's stupid. Emerald's stupid. Mercury's stupid. Well, Mercury's more just he wants the Bella booty. He wants that Bella booty. Give me the Bella booty. I want the Bella booty. No, you don't want my Bella booty. I don't want your Bella booty. I want your mom's Bella booty. What? I want her to take care of me. I don't. Oh, damn it. Okay. I need to lay off the weird tangents in this video. So, okay. So what about the rest of the plot? The rest of the plot is just basically a hodgepodge of conveniences. That one, Salem, John, and Tyrion end up getting involved in a situation. Like they go to each kingdom. They go to Valco first, then Mistral, then Atlas, then Vale, and John gets kidnapped continuously. So Salem has to we have to rescue him again. Verily, leading to them getting like shenanigans of Salem showing off her powers, and then just rinse and repeat the entire story, while everyone is like constantly having to overreact over the fact that like they don't know what Salem's up to or what Salem is doing, and like tripping over themselves trying to just figure out why she look human, why she have this random boy, why is everyone thinking that Salem's pregnant? Oh, that's another thing. Everyone thinks Salem is pregnant. What? Yeah. Okay, so continuing on. Moreover, periodically throughout the story, Salem finds out that not Salem. Cinder finds out that Salem is MIA. So she's like, I'm gonna take over the Grim, and she gets Watts to like inject her with the pool, and she like slowly grimifies herself. However, she's such an overhard blowhard that it's kind of funny in a really goofy way, which is fine. I like Cinder as like the over the top goofy villain in this story. I think that works, but you can see why I'm not really going into the plot a lot, because the plot is just repeating the same thing over and over. Go to a new location. John gets kidnapped. Salem saves John. No one believes that Salem has magic. Salem shows off magic. Everyone's completely terrified of her. Salem makes like some inadvertently sexual remarks about how John got men are preggers. Rinse and repeat over and over and over again, while also interspersing Cinder trying to kill Salem. It's way too hackneyed, and the fact there's so many contribute. My head hurts. Conveniences that constantly put like this is a very forced plot. I get this is supposed to be a comedy because it says right there it's a rom-com, and I'm strictly focusing on the humor because the romance aspect of it's not bad, but this is mainly a humor story. This is mainly a comedy story. I think as a comedy story, this story failed for the most part because you're basing a lot of the fact is a comedy story on the simple fact that Salem is an idiot, which will be fine if not for the fact that everyone else is also an idiot. See where I'm getting with it? Like, not even as so much as Salem is an idiot, she's an unlikable idiot. Now, unlikable characters, they're a thing. Like, you take, for example, Mandy from Billy and Mandy. She's an unlikable character. The point is, she's supposed to be unlikable. Thing with Salem in this particular case is I don't think the author meant for her to be unlikable and try to be like an obstinate, old fashioned asshole. The point is, the author tried to make her likable, but kept like tripping over themselves by trying to add in more characters and more weird scenarios. There's a part where, Salem being old fashioned, like she runs into Velvet, like she gets Tyrion. That's like, I need help to I need help to find how to woo John because she's starting to fall for him. And Tyrion finds Velvet, and Velvet gets Coco, and they're like, "Well, no, we don't have to. Nah, you don't do the old fashioned stuff anymore. Now you just take it, and then you sleep with him, and you want to run away." And they treat hand holding as like the most disgusting thing possible. Like, what the, like, why? Okay, like that makes sense. Coco's supposed to be like a hipster, so she would kind of go into the meme. Oh, that's another thing. The story with the humor relies too much on like referencing memes. I'm okay if you want to reference a meme, but the fact that literally it happens like all the time throughout the story, like even when like near the end where Blake and Adam and Ilya are no Mercury and Adam and Ilya are like in a three-way tussle because all of them want is like, I want to marry Blake. And like everyone, like John and Salem are like looking at them, it's like, why are you fighting? And then I'll come with excuses, and then Mercury says, Blake is love, Blake is life. Yes, because of course it has to reference the Shrek is love. Like, fine. That one at least worked because it's like unexpected. It's like it's a yeah. It's like I can see a meme or two coming in, but there's so many memes, and then there's so much sexual humor. Like, what's Salem's big idea for trying to wow John? Putting like half her body in the dishwasher and saying, "I'm stuck, John, help me." Wink. It's maybe it's less the meme humor and more of the sexual humor. I'm not a fan of in this story because it's just off putting. Because I don't know. I don't know. There's something about the plot of the story. Oh yeah, there's barely any. This head. Okay. Let me move on. Characters. There's John. I don't like John in this story. Like, despite the fact that the author like continuously tries to change John's character around, like every story that starred John has him be acting completely different, but still keeping that Johnness. This one seems to go out of their way to like keep him as close to canon as possible. That's really weird. It doesn't work in this case because you're trying to make a very dense character fall in love with another very dense character who's also very old fashioned and technologically inept. And the dynamic between John and Salem doesn't really work. It just doesn't. And yeah, that's basically it. John's just John in this story. I can't even say much about him because it's just he's like the closest to a blank slate. Yeah, there's the whole thing where like he becomes numb to like all the craziness around him because he's gotten so used to it. Like Salem's stupidity and Tyrion's stupidity, and like even other people say that he's crazy because he just deals with it and just stands there doing nothing. Okay. Uh then we got Tyrion. I actually like Tyrion in the story. He's a fanatic of Salem. There, he's trying to get no, yeah. So you can actually see him right there. He's kind of like the third wheel in the whole thing, but he's like he's like purposely made the third wheel because like I followed the life and times of Salem. Yeah. Can you step on me? No. He basically will do anything for Salem. He will kill people for Salem. He will befriend a bunny for Salem. He will he will like completely ignore the laws of physics for Salem, or at least he'll try to. But a lot of the better humor from the story actually just comes directly from Tyrion. Like there's the running gag, like once they actually get the veil, um, and Salem and John are actually on a date, and Team Ruby interrupts. Is like Salem's like, "You guys are pathetic." Tyrion, yes, train them. Okay, no, 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 yes, 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 train them, just go. And then he just makes them so paranoid that they booby trap their entire room. Like even after a decade, because the final chapter takes place like years, nearly a decade after the events of the story, they still haven't gotten rid of all the booby traps because they became so paranoid of Tyrion. It's actually pretty funny. Even to the point where like Tyrion like strolls into the cafeteria with like dressed up as Glinda, and Glinda's like 5 feet away from them, and she's there like, the fuck is this shit? And Tyrion's just trying his best to like try to lure him away so he can ambush him again, and he nearly gets away with it because they're not looking at him. It's actually a pretty funny moment. But yeah, he's devoted, he's analytical, he's kind of crazy, but I think that kind of balances him. I actually like him and John's dynamic because John's like pretty much straight man to like anything Tyrion does, and even like Tyrion going like, "I'm your uncle," so you're not. I'm your uncle. I'm gonna be the best uncle I can be. Yeah, it's funny. The other minor characters, they work as well as you can in this story. You have Ozpin, who acts like Ozpin. Ozpin, I can understand like being stupid because he's like he didn't expect uh he wouldn't expect Salem to just randomly lose her grim powers. So he's like constantly overthinking things and like trying to overanalyze everything. And eventually near the end, he kind of he kind of realizes Salem's like, she's not really harming anyone. I'm gonna talk to her, and basically just talk. Him and her just kind of like talk, and he's like gives her his blessing. It's like, if you want to go for him, go for him. As long as you're not doing anything crazy, yeah, go. Get him to drop his pants. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's good and bad. That's right. You got pregnant, right? So what? No, Ironwood's hilarious because he's like over dramatic. Crow's hilarious because he's drunk and over dramatic. But then you got what I think is the biggest problem with the story, Salem. Now, okay, I can understand Salem being an idiot because this story paints her as being like inept. Like once she became a Grim, like several thousand years ago, she never left the tower, so she never knew about like technology or phones and other stuff. So she's very very behind the times, like medieval times. I can get that. Her being one unlikable is another thing. I can understand why the author is going for this because you have John, who's supposed to be like super nice and naive, but then you have Salem, who's super pompous and overbearing and naive and stupid. You basically took all of John's characteristics, add a Jupiter-sized planet ego, and slapped them onto Salem. So you basically have two Johns. It doesn't work because Salem is just Salem just doesn't work in the story. Like I don't care how you justify it. Salem is unlikable for the sake of unlikable. I can understand her being a little pompous. Like if the story was going for her like slowly being like her not only learning all this new technology, but her slowly kind of getting a little bit more humble, I can buy that. But no, she doesn't really develop any a character arc besides falling in love with John for the D. Uh, she doesn't really grow as a character because she doesn't really change at all. Even her powers, like she still has magic. She's still like the most powerful character in the story where she like curb stomps everyone. Which is like, why would you do the whole D-Grim thing if you're not gonna D-magic her? Is that another issue with Salem's character that I have? And then you make her not learn anything throughout the whole story. Like she's like, despite the fact John is technically the main character, Salem is the official main character of this story. Not like John, like Salem's just important as just a main character, if not more than John, which kind of says something about why John is at least okay, but Salem is just so horribly written in the story. Like you could have everything else could be decent, but Salem just drags. Just the fact that Salem is so, no matter how hard the author try, he doesn't make her any more than one dimensional in the story, and that drags everything down. It drags the entire story down and off a cliff into a crater, and the craters and the thing inside the crater is doing the option death pose. Why? I don't get it. Grammar wise, this story actually has a lot of grammar errors. For Kohler all around, this is like weird because he's like a journal. He's a journalist. He apparently does like a bunch of first drafts. Like he's really good at first drafts. You know what? That actually, I actually think that describes the story perfectly. I think this is just a big first draft. Like he just slapped together a first draft like that. There we go, and tossed it out, which makes sense considering the fact that if we go to his page, let's see, where is it? Where is it? Right here. Story was published January 4th, 2021, and finished March 28th, 2022. Do you want to know how many Story was doing at this time? He was doing, let's see, what was it? Yeah. Beast of Beacon, Relic of the Future, Arcanum, Night of Salem, Arc Royale, Rabbit Amongst Wolves, Self Made Man, three, no, not three. Oh, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? And Rye and Rays. That's 9 stories. No, 10 stories. Because he also wait, no, that's 2022, right? No, not this one. No, yeah, this one, Eternal Crown. That's 10. Let me just check. Yeah, that's 10 stories he was doing at the same around in the same time period. Explains why this story just felt like a first draft. It is a first draft. The story is just a first draft. Also explains why this has a bunch of grammar errors. Because someone who's good at journalism should know how to find grammar errors and fix them. But he did not but there's a bunch in this story. Pacing and sentence structure. This is fine. I don't have any complaints about sentence structure or the pacing. I think it's just long enough to kind of get the point across. One thing I do not like, I do want to even point out, is the plot point at the whole point of the story starting off is the fact that Salem gets degramified. They never come back to this plot point. They keep mentioning it, but they never actually progresses it to the point where like it takes until chapter 51 of 59 chapters for the plot to actually progress. and also that specific plot point. Salem's curse. So not only does she not a Grimm anymore, she's now no longer immortal, and it's not even mentioned in the story or revealed in the. No, it's a fucking author's note. That's like that's like just a slap in the face, honestly. Just that's just massively disrespectful. And I don't like it. Uh but yeah, so I think that's it with this story. That I really want to talk about. I would love to go on like a bigger rant about Salem, but I just can't. She honestly reminds me too much of the Cankers. Cankers are like the unlikable characters that the whole where like you're not given any chance to like with no dimension. That's basically Salem in the story. She's the Cankers instead of Mandy, who's a likable character but has layers to her and shows there's more to her. Yeah, would I recommend the story? Okay, no. Like I said, I do think there's some good to the story. I liked a lot of the characters. A lot of humor was actually very funny. It was legitimately funny. Like Iron Wood turning into a penguin whenever he gets mad. It's pretty funny. Work, work, work. And also forcibly regrowing his M's and then like him forcibly ripping it off. It's like, no, I would not let my arm grow. And no, don't do. Did he just rip his arm in front of Osmond? Yes. Yes, he did. No! Work, work, no! I turned back into a penguin. My arm grew back. Sag. Like, stuff like that is funny. But Salem is just such a negative aspect of this story. I can't recommend it. Salem just anytime Salem does something, it's one step forward, two like 10 steps back because the author writes Salem in such a horribly unlikable, one-dimensional way. Like if Salem was at least written at least a little more competently, I would say, all right, I'm willing to let this slide and recommend it. But it's Salem's just written such a mess that I can't. I just can't. Favorite part. Um, Honestly, hilariously ironic. My favorite part is that Salem moment. Hey, I said the story made me laugh. So when they get to Vale, they hook up with Roman. He's like, "Hey, you gotta stay here." And Roman's like, "Okay, but you playing the John, you playing the Salem, and you playing to Vernal from Bakuo. You three are wanted. So you can't leave the building. Okay, get it, got it, good." So they're trying to find ways to like keep themselves entertained, and then Salem's like getting super bored. So John's like, "Okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" He decides, "I'm going to introduce Salem to video games." Cue Salem starting to play League of Legends and becoming the most toxic person alive because she's convinced that League of Legends is a video game made by Ozpin to train people to fight her. It is so ridiculous and so over the top, but by God, it was actually hilarious. Especially since like she's constantly like asking, like, "John, did you get me the gamer fuel?" Yes. I gotta beat this Ice Queen. Why? What are you playing? This person keeps yelling at me, insulting me. I don't know why, but I feel insulted. And it's hilarious. It's over the top, but it's like I could not laugh at it. What would I change? Just change Salem. Hell, an easy way to fix the story is just get rid of Salem's powers. You don't you don't have to do anything. Like the better Salem parts of the story is her when she's verbally tearing something apart. Like I think the author should just lean more into this and like Salem having to like wise up and humble herself so that way she can constantly like fool people into thinking that she's still super powerful. That would work. Like that would actually work and also bring some at least some drama to the whole thing where now she's like John's actually in danger because Salem can't protect them. It also would make the romance more natural. The fact that Salem only falls in love with John because he's like kind of dealing with her, and John, I think like based on everything that happens, gets like Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So yeah, just get rid of like you could easily splinter that into Salem learning that she's not immortal anymore. Like she can die, and like her realizing that she only has one life left, or maybe, and also leading to her becoming more humble. You know, not you can still keep the whole overbearing pompousness. And I think that works for Salem, and also the also the kind of stupidity because they're kind of tied together. But just get rid of the magic. Just the fact that not only she's stupid, she's also stupidly powerful to the point where it like sucks all drama out and all tension out of everything in the story. Yeah, that's Nine of Salem. I will see you next time. Hopefully when I get better. The Mid Dark Symphony 777 and cut.